Good afternoon, YouTube, and welcome back to Fat Cat Collections. And today I'm doing another watch show and tell slash story time. And I kind of came with this idea for doing these videos because some of the watches that I've reviewed on my channel over the years, I reviewed a lot of the watches probably about 4 years ago. And some of the earlier models I had in my collection, kind of how my collection got started, my journey on, or my timeline, no pun intended, on watches. I would like to come back now and re-review some of these and tell you guys a little bit about the watch and where I got it and kind of where I was at in my watch journey. And the one I want to talk about today is one by Marc Ecko. And this is it right here. Now, for some of you hardcore watch lovers, you probably don't. For you guys who are really into horology, nothing wrong with that, but a lot of you guys may not watch my channel. One thing I am passionate about is watches. I love watches, whether they're a $2 watch I got when I was a young guy, or a $4,000 watch I got sent as part of a sponsorship deal, or INVICTA or Aragon. I love watches in general, and each one, again, tells a story at a certain time in my life, and I just wanted to share with you guys kind of my story on each watch and kind of how I acquired it, and give you guys an idea of what it was like to get it around that time frame. So this watch here is, and this is what makes me laugh a lot of times when people talk about, the INVICTA watch quality. This is a watch that, again, by Marc Ecko, and this is when I was but I'm still into stone or gemstone gemstone watches or gemstone bezels or iced out watches. It's just nowadays, for me to want to get one, it has to be a reputable brand like Aragon or INVICTA, that you're getting a watch of decent quality with, again, there's nothing wrong with having a watch with gemstones in them, but when you start getting involved with a watch like this is going to be more of what I would consider a fashion watch, where the argument there is some people will say that INVICTA is a fashion watch too, and I guess sort of it is, but my point is, when I got this watch, I got this as a gift, and I love this watch, don't get me wrong. And let me just, before I start rambling on, let me just show you the close-up here. You have a combination of like a rose-colored gemstones, and I'm not sure if they're genuine, if they're just like a cubic zirconia. They're probably not any real genuine gemstone, whereas like Aragon and INVICTA, they'll use like a black spinel or spinel, I forget how you say it, white topaz. This I just think is just generic like rhinestone basically, but still a pretty cool watch. Not really much to write home about as far as the quality of the movement. You don't have any kind of name brand movement, it's just a basic cheap Japanese movement in the watch, like a lot of fashion watches. At least with INVICTA, at least you're getting like a Ronda or a Seiko, an Etta, in some watches a Salida. It just kind of depends, and even with the Ronda movements, you're getting a company who puts their name behind a very, very decent quality quartz movement. And I've never had any kind of issues at Rondas, and to be honest with you, even an inexpensive Japanese watch or movement like this, and this watch still works with the exception of the battery, of course, but quartz watches are almost indestructible. It really takes a lot for them to fail. And I can tell you that of all the watches I have dating back for over 40 years, the only watch I've ever had fail is a gifted fake Rolex I got way back in the day, which again just sits in my box, and I'll do a review on that one as well, or a story time on that one as well. But it's a pretty cool looking watch though. Again, if you're into stuff that's flashy, I kind of consider this watch what you would find. Again, I got this at Macy's, or it might have been the Bon Marché. I forget what the name of the company was. Probably was the Bon back then. And I was in the store, and I was starting to look at different watches, and at the time I was wearing like some of the Jacob watches and the 5 time zone watches. All these different brands were kind of copying Jacob and Company, and so I wanted to get something that was a little bit nicer. Let me tell you, when you compare the quality of a fake watch, like a fake Jacob, or some of those Simon and Company watches, like the one I reviewed the other day, some of those real, costume jewelry kind of fashion watches, even this is a much better quality. You're getting a name brand. Again, it's nothing really to write home about. It's a basic watch. You have a quartz movement, you have an iced out bezel, the Marc Ecko logo, and this shield design. And it is made of all 316L, I believe, stainless steel in this. Although, don't quote me on that because it is stainless steel. I don't know if it's 316L, which most watches are. But, pretty cool. It's got a real thick band. I get that mirror polishing, the double butterfly clasp on the back, which I'm always a big fan of. I don't know why INVICTA doesn't do stuff like that on more of their watches, but Marc Ecko logo on the back, and that's really about it. You know, the watch basically just tells time, and it's a very, very flashy timepiece. And I remember when I walked into the mall and I saw this watch, you know, some of the diesel watches were there, and the price on those was like over $400 at the time. And I'm going to show you guys another diesel watch on the next video here, but I remember looking through the glass case, and Marc Ecko had started coming out with these flashy, what I kind of would consider almost like a hip-hop style watch. And again, now you can still wear this watch if you're not into hip-hop. A watch is a watch. You can wear it with any style, but at the time, you know, when the Jacobs were really big, a lot of the hip-hop industry was wearing, a lot of the rappers were wearing the Jacob & Company watches. Some of the Ice Tech watches that you'll see, there were the big square ones. I used to have one of those, actually. You know, more of the over-the-top, flashy, I wouldn't say luxury timepieces, but they were considered luxury goods because of the price. You know, genuine stones, real diamonds. I mean, some of the Jacob watches are going for upwards of $200,000 if you get the ones that are all iced out. Like if you look at the replica one I did a review on the other day, or a show and tell on. So this was a nice middle-of-the-road watch. I wanted to get something a little bit different. You know, I don't know if I remember correctly, I'm not really sure if I had the Jacob watches yet. It's kind of fuzzy on when I actually acquired this. It would have been probably around 2000, and I'd probably say 3 to 6. And again, I was just walking through the mall and I saw this watch, and I saw that Marc Ecko had a lot of really cool iced out watches at the time, which is what I was really into. And again, I still like the iced bezel, but for me to get a watch nowadays, it would have to actually have a genuine gemstone. Even though white topaz is very inexpensive, it would have to be genuine. I'm more into the genuine stuff nowadays. And I know it's kind of, I guess that's kind of a, I mean, I wear a lot of gold-plated watches, so those aren't genuine. But really, when you look at watches, I mean, the only folks really making genuine gold watches are like Rolex and a lot of your really higher-end luxury pieces, which I'm not into. I mean, that's too expensive for me. I like having a big variety of watches, and I think this is a pretty cool watch to have in the collection. It is not made anymore. I did actually find it on Amazon. It just says currently unavailable, and it just says it has a mineral crystal and stainless steel case, silver and rose gold dial, and that's about it. Size on this here, it's pretty decent sized watch, and one thing I like about this watch, I don't know if you've looked at some of my other videos, I forget the company, I did a review on one of their watches. I'll have to come back and re-review it, but it's pretty hard to find a watch that is all bracelet, and this is a very, very thick bracelet. Yeah, obviously the bracelet's almost as big as the watch itself. This is definitely something that definitely gets a lot of, I think, wrist press just based on the size of the bracelet, which is pretty cool. This is much larger than a lot of the INVICTA watches as far as the bracelet's concerned. And what I kind of compare this to is what Aragon does with the millipede. You have a decent sized face, which I believe on this is probably about 47, 50 millimeter. Let me just get a ruler on here. Yeah, 50 millimeter in case width, and then from lug to lug, you're looking at about 58 millimeter. So it's not a small watch. Again, it's not as huge as say your Sea Hunter or some of the Aragon millipedes, but I think it kind of shares that similarity with just having a really unique bracelet. It's big, it's thick, it's wide, but here's my thing with these watches, that when you feel this watch was about 250 bucks, and that's a lot. Like, I wouldn't spend that on this watch nowadays. And again, it was a gift from my folks, which is awesome. I love this gift. I remember it was probably, I think I got this watch for, it was a Christmas gift right around that time frame, and I remember every time I wore this, I'd always get a compliment on it. And as old as it is, these stones are all still intact. There's nothing falling out, and I just think it's a really interesting timepiece, very unique and really different compared to a lot of the other watches out there. I think that's why I really appreciate this watch so much, because when you put it on your wrist, although it's not a super high-end piece, and again, a lot of you will, who some of the trolls out there will be like, well, neither are the INVICTAs, but there is a real difference when you feel this quality versus your INVICTA or Aragon watches. I'd compare this with like a diesel watch. They're on par. INVICTA, you have a step up from them. The quality is much better, much heavier. You can just feel the build in the INVICTAs, and they're just enormous. I mean, they just have that feeling to them that you really can't get in a lot of other brands. But nonetheless, still an awesome watch. As I always do, I'll show you guys what it looks like on the wrist here. I have a 7-inch wrist, and I'm about 5'7.5", and I weigh about 179 pounds. So that's what it looks like on a guy my size, my height, my weight. Again, you might be able to find this on eBay. You never know what somebody's willing to get rid of. I personally don't sell anything. What's pretty amazing though is that when I got this watch, I was probably about 165 pounds, maybe 163 pounds. And I tell you, even at this point in my life, I mean, I'm a lot older now, and this watch is actually a little bit loose on me. Like, I could actually take this in one link just to tighten it up a little bit. But, again, it's not one I really wear all that often, if at all. It's just one for the collection and just an awesome watch just to share another story with you guys. So there you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm going to be doing a lot more videos like this. I think it's pretty cool just to kind of reminisce on some of the watches that I have in my collection. And I try to give you guys the best information I can, but let's face it, these watches you're not really going to be able to find. And again, you never know. I'm not even sure if Marc Ecko is still even in business making watches, but if they are, I'm just going to go ahead and check them out now and see what they have. If there are any watches available, I'll put a link, as I always do, in the description, whether it be through the manufacturer's website or through eBay. I'm sure you can probably find some pre-owned stuff on eBay if you're looking to get something like this. Still a cool piece, and definitely one that is unique, and I like anything unique. So let me know what you guys think. And as always, folks, have a wonderful day. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and do so now. Click the bell, be notified anytime I upload a new video. And man, you guys have a great day. Take care.